Recording in progress.
And we were discussing about how could it be that through the Yerida of the Neshama down here, we're going to have a greater Aliyah. That the Neshama, even though it started off in the level of Neshama Shenasatabi, to Hoidehi, Atabarasa, to Yitzhata, to Nafachtabi, but it started in a level of Tehoida, going all the way up to Tehiru Ilah, the supernal brilliance, that which is a level of the Oiden Sof Shalifna Hatzimtzum, and even higher than that we said Machshavtam, She Yisrael Kadmol Chol Davar, that the thought of the Yidden preceded all creation and every existence. So how is it possible that through our avodah down here we could reach an even higher level than what we would be that we were beforehand? And that's the idea that we explained, the pasuk Be'er Mayim Chayim, that there is Mayan Ganim, there is the Neshama the way it's a spring of the gardens, the way it was in Gan Eden. And then it descended down here into like the well that has the water coming from under the ground, the same thing the Neshama came down here below. And there it's in a state of Mayim Chayim, it's a state of living water, similar to the Chei Havai or Chai Havai Shamati Lefonov, but it's even greater, reaches a greater sweetness and purity that it could even now purify, like the waters under the ground can purify now the even someone that's tamei to mesmes and so on. And this is all because it reaches a higher level. So he started explaining that this happens because the whole entire purpose of the creation is that Hashem desired to have a home down here below. And we find this expressed right away in the idea of the Basi Lagani Lagunoni, that the main Shechina was down here below. And we find this idea of the purpose and the expression of the Shechina being down here below through Torah mitzvahs, that we find that the even Adam Rishon was placed in Gan Eden, La'avdol L'Shamra. La'avdol L'Shamra is talking about mitzvahs asa, mitzvahs loisa, in this physical world. So let's begin from the second line from the bottom of the second page of the Maimon, 417. It says the Inyan Zev, this idea that the fulfillment of the mitzvahs in this low world was said, Namar Lagabe Adam Rishon, was said concerning Adam Rishon, that Adam Rishon already, even though he was Yitzir Kap of Shal Kodesh Baruch Hu, even though he was formed Kaviyach by the very hands of Hashem, unlike all of us, that we are the physical body, ours comes from our father and mother, like Chazal say that there are three partners in a person. The father and the mother give the physical body, and Hashem gives the neshama. But by Adam Rishon, it was directly something that he was directly formed by Hashem, and him being formed from Hashem had been placed in Gan Eden to do mitzvahs. Why? Because the kavanah is the dirab tachtoin. The Rebbe says, by extension, this purpose is also applicable to every Yid. From this is understood concerning every single Yid. Chazal said, what's the reason that a person was distinct in his creation, different than all other beings? Everything else in the world was created in groups. All the animals, all the birds, all the hosts of heaven, all the malachim, everything was created in a group, not a single malach, not a single cow, a single chicken, a single bird, but there were groups of entire categories of creation that were created as one. Basha'enken, as opposed to only Adam was created a single one, instead of Hashem could have populated the world and made thousands, millions, billions of people at once. What's the reason for that? So the Chazal say, "L'lam decha," to teach you, "Nefesh achas miyisrael k'may Adam Rishon," that one soul is like Adam Rishon. The exact application that Chazal say is that someone that saves a Jewish life or sustains a Jewish life. It's like he's sustaining an entire world, just like Adam Rishon was an entire world. But we see from that association that we're supposed to look at every single Yid like we look at Adam Rishon, or else it falls apart. If you say that every single Yid is not and does not have the level, if you will, of Adam Rishon, so then why are we comparing one to the other? They're apples and oranges. So the point is that every single Yid is just like Adam Rishon, and just like Adam Rishon was placed in Gan Eden to do the work of Torah mitzvahs, the same thing, every single Yid was placed in this world, even if the world would have been a state of Gan Eden, and even if the world would have been in a state of prior to the Chetes Hadas, to make a dir Yisbarach Tachtonim. That's the general service of a person in this low world, during the 6,000 years that the world exists. Especially during the time of exile, is even more so the avoida of the person to do this, to make the dir of Tachtonim, to do the avoida in this low world. The klolos olam has lachrei chetes hadas u'b'chinas golos. The general idea of this world after the chetes hadas, that itself is a way of golos. Like it says that Adam Rishon was sent into golos. He was originally in Gan Eden, and Hashem sent him out outside of Gan Eden. So that itself, since that first moment after the Chetes Hadas, when Adam Rishon was kicked out of Gan Eden, we are all been in Golus since then. And then even more so, the V'adle Golus Kipshute, until we have the literal Golus that we experienced now and other times that we were in Golus. During the time of Golus, as opposed to, let's say, when the Beis Hamikdash stood, the darkness is double and quadrupled. And the avoida in this darkness, so it's not just in the darkness that we are doing an avoida while being in darkness, but we are working with the darkness. Davke boval yoda mashlimim es tachlas hakavonas habriya mishreshes batzmusi yisbarach. Davke in the golus and davke in the darkness, and davke through the darkness and the golus, we are completing the ultimate purpose, the ultimate intention of the creation, the way it's rooted in Hashem's very essence, as we said before, that this is the source of Hashem's desire to have a dir Yisbarach Tachtonim, if I remember correctly. He said that there's an Atzmus. No, he didn't. Actually, he's saying this now. Well, Pratis Yosem, more specifically, what avoida is the avoida that completes this ultimate intention of the creation, of making that Hashem desired to have a home down here below. So there could be different things that we are doing in the darkness of Golus. We're davening, we are learning, but the actions of mitzvahs is the more primary level of fulfilling and making this kavanas intention of atzmos to have a dir b'tachtonim. The amaisa huwa ikir, because action is what's primary. And in action itself, there is a special value to bringing out the idea of dir b'tachtonim in a more powerful way, when it's an action and a way of coercion, like the Rebbe always brings the Maimer Chazal that says, Ma'asin ala tzedakah, that one can coerce under certain circumstances a person to give tzedakah. So we see that the word Maisa, Asi, is related to coercion. So that Maisa is, when we are including that meaning in the word Maisa, we are referring to avoid the skafi of the Sitra Achra, when we're doing it in such a way that we are coercing, we are sublimating the Sitra Achra to Hashem. Then we have truly fulfilled the ultimate level of making a home for Hashem batachtoinim, in the lowest level, because now we have the lowest of the lowest of the lowest. In Gan Eden, true, we were in the physical world that was already low. Being kicked out of Gan Eden made things even lower. Going into Gullahs and the darkness that has to do with Gullahs and the double and quadruple darkness of Gullahs makes the Dira in an even lower state. And dealing with action, especially in such type of action that we need to sublimate the klippa, is the ultimate level of taking the low and making over there a home for Hashem. And now, based on this, once we understand this idea that we are fulfilling dafke in this world, the intention for the entire creation, so that's the reason why through the descent of the neshama down here below, we reach higher than the neshama was before its descent, because now we are connecting with that very intimate and deep level of Hashem that desires to have a home down here below. Whereas where the neshama came from prior to that, it was not connected and not manifesting that association with Hashem's desire to have a home down here below. So it was still not at the ultimate highest state that it could be. So now he's going to continue and explain this with the continuation of the pasuk. In the beginning of the Maimon, he explained Mayan Ganim, Be'er Mayim Chayim, Mayan Ganim is Neshama Gan Eden, Be'er Mayim Chayim, the wellspring of living water. The well of living water is down here. What's the latter part? V'zel Mayan Ganim, Be'er Mayim Chayim, V'noizlim Levanoin. It is flowing from Levanoin. The Betchila Neshama, B'chinas Mayan Ganim. Initially, the Neshama is a spring of the gardens. V'achar kach ha'idei ridas l'mato. Afterwards, through its descent down and below, becomes a well of living water. Through passing through the veins and the channels underground, like we said, that serves as a purification of the water, so that it's able to become living water that is now sweet and clear, and both physically one can drink from it, and it can also cause the tara and the purification, both of a mikveh and even for the para aduma to be mixed with, to be metired from the worst tumah, from tumas mes. Once we go through that, we reach the level that it's flowing, that it's running from Levanon. Like explained in Mamorim, the Inyan Levanon, the word Levanon can be divided into Koy Alev Nun, 32 and 50. It's talking about the 32 paths of Chochmah that's brought down in Sefer Yetzirah, V'nun Shari Bina, and the 50 gates of Bina. So Chassidus explains that the 31 Nisivos, as well as the 49 gates, the 31 paths, as well as the 49 gates, are all things that are connected with Seder Ishtalshlus. The 32nd path and the 50th gate, those are both tapping into the highest level of the essence. So to be able to reach to that level of Levanon, that's only by Be'er Mayim Chayim, by descending into the ground, into the earth, and being purified over there, and the transformative nature of being down here. Well, and even higher, the word Levanon hints at something else. Bechinas loivin ha'elyon. It's referring to the supernal whiteness. White indicates a color that has no form, if you will, to it. Not like other colors are actually formed, and in the terminology of Chassidus, that's mitzuyer, that has a tziyur, but rather loivin shows that's beyond any type of limitation, any type of constriction. In addition to this, the level of noizlim, specifically the word noizel indicates the koyal mazel shalamayl. It's referring to the level of the mazel, which is above the entire regular level of the neshama. It's the mazel that's above. So now he connects it with the further pasuk. This is what it says in the following pasuk: Be'er chafaru hasarim, a well that the ministers or officers or leaders dug it. So that they dug out this well. The sarim koi ala moichin shebenafshe adam. Who are considered the ministers or officers? That's the intellect of the person. Why is the intellect called the level of sarim? The ikar avodas ha'adam, the primary service of a person is it's through the brain ruling over the heart, like it's explained in Tanya. That's why it's called a sar. Just like an officer, a minister rules, the same thing, the intellect of Chacham bin Adas, they are various sarim, they are rulers. And who are they ruling over? They are ruling and controlling the heart. The Adam haroi lishmay Adam hari etzle hamoyach shalt alev, a person who is worthy of the name Adam, by him the brain rules over the heart. If he's missing that component, if he doesn't have the brain ruling over the heart, so then he is like an animal. I don't remember, was it this mimer or the previous mimer we had this idea. He is primarily like he is likened to a behemoth. Maybe we didn't have this now, but the difference between an animal and a human being, I'm confusing about a different mimer I was learning, that an animal is the level of emotions and a human being is the level of intellect. If the person does not use his intellect to control his emotions, so then he does not have the right in a way to call himself by the name Adam. Because in Adam, the brain rules over the heart. And not only does he rule over the heart, till he rules and nullifies also the opponents. There could be two ways, there are multiple ways of the Moach Shalt Alev. One way is you're reigning in the heart, meaning the heart wants what it wants, and the brain overrules the heart. So my heart desires to do something, comes my brain and says, no, I'm an Adam, I'm a Yid, I follow Torah mitzvahs, I'm a chassid, whatever it is, so I will not give in to my heart's wants. But the heart is still wanting that. A further step is that he rules over the heart, that it overwhelms and defeats the opponents, that it doesn't allow, or it controls and stops the heart from going against the mind, going against what the mind realizes is correct. Okay, move Tanya, like it's understood from what's explained in Tanya. For example, if a person has like foreign thoughts falling into his mind during davening, so he should look at it, not that it means chas v'sholom that his davening is worthless, but it's like if a guy would stand standing in front of him and disturbing him during davening. So the ultimate purpose is that the Eibishter wants that he should so much strengthen himself in davening, says the Alter Rebbe in Tanya, that those foreign thoughts will stop to bother him. The whole purpose why Hashem allowed this to happen is that he wants the person to reach to a greater depth in his davening, and then even those foreign thoughts will cease. And then what happens further? So if he nullifies the opponents, which is he nullifies his heart's desires, so it's not just an issue between these two opponents, between the mind and the heart, but it goes even further. Through the brain ruling over the heart, the heart spreads out to all sides. So therefore, the heart will now, that is, if you will, on the same team as the brain, will bring the brain's message and what the brain wants all over. So that is the sorim. That's the ultimate state of being. The brain will be now an officer, and because they're now influencing the entire person, the entire body, not just defeating the heart, but everything is now being in accordance with the brain. So then, then he's digging out and revealing the essence of the soul, like we said, that the officers and ministers are the ones that dig out the well. It's like the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov on the pasuk that you will be a land of desire. What's the idea of Yidden being likened to a desirous land, to a special land? So he says, Yidden are like a desirous land, that the land contains in it every precious and pleasant type of wealth and treasure. And how does one attain it? It's not lying usually on top of the earth, but rather one has to dig. Through digging in the depth of the ground, we reveal this precious treasure and wealth. And the similar vein over here, through the brain influencing the heart, that then spreads out to the rest of the body, this effect. So it digs out the real, true aspect of the essence of neshama. Through this we reach beyond the root of the neshama, like we said before. And with this will be understood the pasuk in our parsha, why specifically over here we were singing praises, because we weren't just singing praises for the actual miracle of the well and of the defeat of those that were trying to ambush the Yidden, but we are also singing a praise and identifying the avodah that brings out the essence of the neshama, or brings out at a higher level than what neshama had before. Last two lines on the page. This is what it says. Then the Yidden sang, "Arise up, Be'er." Respond to it. The Be'er koyal neshama kanal. That the well is referring to the neshama, like we said before. Va'ali Be'er, and when we say rise up, well, hainu aliyas haneshama shenifal by deridasal amata. It's referring to the ascent of the neshama. That this ascent of the neshama is only affected because and through the neshama descended down here below. The inyan anula, what's anula? What's it mean? Respond to it. Who hanesinas koyach shemekablim alzemel maila. Top of the last page. The anula is the empowerment that it receives from above. That's the responding to the neshama. That it's like someone else speaking and proclaiming to the neshama, like Chazal say, if Hashem would not assist the Beinani, if Hashem would not assist the Yid, he would not be able to overcome the Yetzer Hara, the Nefesh Habahamis. Why does it say respond to her? But it says in Enu is a plural of responding, that there's a lot of those that are responding to it. So he says the plural, even though we're talking about Hashem, moving up, it's understood according to what it says in a different place. There's the mimer of Yud Beis Tammuz that the Frierdiker Rebbe said on Shabbos Parshas Pinchas, and in the year when he was freed from prison in Tafrish Pei Zayin. So it says, Mashakosa Havayli Ba'oizroi, it says, Havaya are from my helpers, or among my helpers. Ba'oizroi Lashon Rabim, Oizroi plural. So the question is, how can you include Hashem amongst all the helpers? Hashem is beyond anything, and all the help is only from Hashem. How do you say plural helpers? So the Maimer explains the koi al nitzoytes hakadusha mizbar ma'idei kiyam mitzvahs. The plural helpers is referring to the godly sparks that are refined through the fulfillment of mitzvahs, and that is the plural. The same thing. The enula is the plural, that the help that we get from the sparks of kedusha in the plural that help us. Through this descent into the world, we effect salvations in the world, like it says, about the Alter Rebbe wrote concerning his release from imprisonment, that it was an effect of salvations within the land. Specifically through the descent in the innards. Bekedav arts means like in the innards of the earth, which means the lowest place in the earth. Can move appears Rashi Parshas Ve'era Bekedav arts, like it's understood from what Rashi says on Parshas Ve'era on the words Kedav arts. Aideza poilim in Yeshuas, specifically being in the innards of the earth, in the lowest place. That's what affects the idea of the salvations. Then the future redemption. Then we will sing before you, before him, a new song in the masculine sense. Like we say in the Kapitel Tillim, that they started saying Yud Beis Tammuz Tav Shalamed Hey, which was the Kapitel Kuf Vav, because that's the Frierdiker Rebbe's birthday then, and they started saying Mizra Hashem what did I say? Kufav? It was Tzadik Vav, I think. That the Mizbar is we start saying the Mizmar that we say Shir Lavai Shir Chadash. It looks like it was in the redemption of the Frierdiker Rebbe. I said, not only myself, the Hashem redeemed. But all those that love his holy Torah, but and also those that are called by the name Yisrael, like the expression that he wrote in his letter on the year of his release in Tafresh Beiches. It will be in the future, in the complete and total redemption, a true redemption, soon mamash.